if you find yourself with a camera in your hand and you want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment down below what you would like to learn more about. Hi Photos subscribers. Today we're talking about doing photography from home. How is that possible? How can I learn photography from home? So specifically on the learning side, there's 4 major things I want to bring to your attention and I want you to focus on. Hopefully you're already doing these things and you've got a jump start on this video, but the important thing is 2 of these things you will never outgrow. You'll have a better handle on and it won't take you as long to dial these in, but those are steps 3 and 4. So before I get ahead of myself, let's go to steps 1 and 2. Step number 1, always keep your batteries charged. I know, that seems like a no-brainer, but if I still do it to myself, okay? That's one reason I bring it up. I am guilty of doing this. I go out and I grab a camera and I start shooting, and I love doing what we're doing, but I shoot until my camera is going and then finally quits on me. And I stop and think, why would my camera quit? Did I just lose a camera? And I realize I didn't check how charged my battery was, if I had a good charge on it or not. So that was, again, that's a very beginning error. I should have checked to make sure that all of my equipment was ready to go and nothing was low capacity, whether that's charged battery or a memory card. That I had the lenses available that I would need to shoot with what I was going for. So I took the battery out, I went and threw it on the charger, and I grabbed a spare battery. This time, when I put the spare battery in, I made sure to check the battery indicator to see whether it was at 1/4, half, or 3/4 charge, or hopefully a full charge. So that usually the spare battery has saved me. But there are some times where one of my batteries is just dying. There's no good condition to the battery anymore. Even when it's charging on a soft charge or a reconditioning, I can't pull it back. And so it's just dying. It only gives me 1 hour's worth of use rather than 4 or 5. So number 1, keep in mind, keep your batteries charged. Even your spare, if it says it's got a good charge on it, throw it on the charge so that it tops that battery off a little bit. Most batteries these days are lithium ion or nickel metal hydride, and they're a better type of battery to receive that top off charge, and you don't always want to fully discharge them, and so that keeps your batteries in better shape. Battery technology has come a long way since I first started, and it's been really nice to see. But number 2 is, if you want to get better at photography, one of the ways that I found to do it is always have your camera in hand. There would be times where I would find, I want to get that shot, and then I have to go hunt my battery down. I have to hunt my camera down. Usually I have a battery in my camera, but I have to make sure that I have a spare battery, because guess what? I'm going to forget, right? So keep my camera in hand all the time, so I'm not having to stop whatever I'm doing to try and slowly back away from a window so I don't scare off whatever wildlife I see through the window, to go grab my camera, make sure I've got a good battery, throw my spare battery on charge. You see how much of a problem that is already? So I started this while I was at home, and maybe you're at home and you're wanting something to occupy your time, or you're looking to build up a skill or start earning money some way. So this is one of the tips that I find most helpful. Keep your camera in hand, or at least don't let it get any further than at hand. Does that make sense? Have it somewhere nearby that you can slowly grab it and get it set up and get ready to take a picture. I found a way to wrap the neck straps around my hand and just comfortably hold my camera so that if my grip loosened a little bit, I wasn't dropping my camera on the floor. And I would just learn to carry the camera around like that, and it got to be second nature. It was almost as if my hand had grown and there was a camera in my hand now. So the steps 3 and 4 that we mentioned, indoors or outdoors, you need to learn 2 different things and how to calculate and adjust to be able to control these factors. Number 1, indoors, you need to figure out how much light is in the area where you're going to take the shot. your eyes naturally readjust, and that's part of what you're going to need to adjust your camera for, is to learn how much light is in the room, what settings do you need to use, what's the light that you're shooting in. Are they incandescent bulbs? Are they LED bulbs? Are you getting reflected light from the sun outside from windows? Know your surrounding light. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. Learn what light is around you. That's called ambient light, light that is in your current setting that you're not adding light to. You can create more ambient light by opening the shade of a window. So beware, if you're mixing incandescent lights or LEDs, different types of lights, they're going to have different color. Some light bulbs are pretty good and they have daylight balance bulbs, but even those may create a different color than you're going to get from reflected light off of your wall. It's a painted different color, or light from your window. So pay attention as to what those look like and how you might have to color change or adjust that color in your post-process on your computer. Once you've learned what the light is like around you inside, put a little bit of a different change and challenge yourself to go outside. Now use the cloudy or the direct sunlight settings for white balance on your camera, and learn how to control outdoor light, whether it's diffused like today. For where I am, it's cloudy. Yesterday it was a directly lit day, and there was very few clouds in the sky and it was direct sun. But learn how to quickly identify what light you have in ambient surroundings surrounding to you, or how to quickly determine that if it doesn't something come to your mind, automatically knowing what's going on and how things are lit around you. The second thing, also dealing with light, is whether you're indoors or outdoors, you need to learn how to control the amount of light that is around you in your ambient surrounding and the ambient light around you by the three things that we've talked about in shooting in manual. Whether you're shooting in other program modes or automated modes, you need to understand the importance of how those three things combine, so that you either know how your camera is operating when you're setting the aperture, or you're setting the shutter speed, or you're setting the ISO, so that the camera itself, you understand where it's going and how it's pushing to get a properly exposed image. And when you know how the camera is counteracting what you're setting, you can adjust to bring things back into a good proportion, so that you're getting the contrast or the lighting or other things that you're looking for in your image. So that is controlling the light by your camera settings. So for instance, let's just discuss here, assuming you're shooting in manual mode, shooting inside, like for where I am right now. You see something outside and you want to get an image of that scene just out in your garden outside your window. That detail, you know that you're inside, and so there's not a lot of light where your camera is, but you're looking outside where there's more light. That question comes up then, how do I set my camera so that I get a fast enough shutter speed that stops the motion I don't want to catch in blur, but fast enough to get enough light? Okay, so that's two questions of how to set shutter speed so that you're not going too fast and making it dark, or not going too slow and getting motion blur that you don't want. Second question of the three things you need to set is the sensitivity of your ISO. What contrast are you going for? Are you going to have most of your shadows and dark areas mostly black, so there's no detail in there? Go for something of a low sensitivity ISO, like 125 or 100. Once you've got that figured out and you know your shutter speed, your ISO, and now you want to figure out how shallow of a depth of field focus you want, now you need to set your aperture so that you're not getting too shallow a focus or not getting too much focus. And I've found at f13 generally that's a good mid-range aperture to set, so that I've got a good background blur, but I've also got a sharp enough focus, and I'm not letting too much of anything in front of my focus stay in focus either. The opposite side of that, assuming you're fairly close to your window, say within 3 feet, and the bird or whatever you see outside your window in your garden you want to image is again within 3 feet. So that's a total of 6 feet between your camera and what you want to image. That would then give you an idea of the depth of field you're looking for. I'm going to create another video on how to calculate depth of field, but again, you don't really want to see something you want to image, have a camera in hand, and then have to sit down and do math of the depth of field. All of this is really going to come once you have some experience and time in working with all these different factors to understanding my aperture is set at this, and that's what I commonly shoot at, so I know something within 4 foot to 5 foot is going to be in focus, or whatever the ratio is that you have set up. You will learn more about that. We'll get into that here in a little while. But the important aspects to all this is not just knowing the ambient light inside, the ambient light outside, but how to control that light, because your camera will have some of the light coming in from the window, but it's not going to be as bright as if you were outside with your subject. So all of those things are hopefully not overwhelming, but there are things to consider. And the more you do step 2, which is always have a camera in hand, the more some of these things are going to become, quote, natural and just things that you reflexively do. Keep that camera in hand, keep shooting. Comment down below and let me know what you have been shooting recently, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. If this content has added value to your photography, please like the video, and we would appreciate your subscription. Thank you so much. God bless.